What makes a great agent for a real estate buyer? You know, it's interesting. People out there, buyers, sellers, are always trying to figure out whether or not they should hire this agent or this agent. You know, it's interesting. Everybody has great friends that are also real estate agents, but not very many people have great real estate agents that are also friends. And there's absolutely a difference. So what makes a great agent for buyers? First of all, I want to share with you some of the attributes of a great buyer's agent. What a great buyer's agent does is they specialize in working with buyers. And by creating specialization, they understand how to really get into and figure out what the buyer needs. And a great real estate agent then figures out what in the marketplace is available to serve those client needs. You see, great buyer's agents don't focus on the commission. They don't focus on what's in it for them. They take the time to really understand what's in it for a client. You've heard me say in other videos that which gets measured gets done, and that anything you do 3 times, we create a system for it. What do you think the chance is we have a system for a buyer consultation? You see, we teach our buyer's agents when they sit down with a buyer to make it about the buyer, not about the agent. Like, I want you to know that I care about you, but nobody else really cares about you. They care about themselves. They care about where they're going to go to school, where their kids are going to go to school. How far is the commute to work? And do they have a backyard? Do they have a 3-car garage? Do they have a family room they can entertain in? They care about themselves. And a great buyer's agent takes the time to figure out what those key things are. In our initial buyer consultation sheet that we use, we break down all the questions that you need to know about a buyer before you start looking for homes. And then we find out whether or not those attributes or those specific features they're looking for are negotiable or non-negotiable. Well, let me give you an example of what I mean. I'm in my 5th or 6th house, and on my list in every house I've ever bought is a 3-car garage. Guess what? I still don't have one. Because the neighborhood and the location and the schools that my kids go to, when it came down to it, were more important than the 3rd-car garage. We made the choice. I didn't think it was negotiable when I started, but the agent took the time to really ask me the questions when it came down to the area and making sure that I wanted my kids in a certain school district. They were able to go there, and we were able to accomplish that. So an agent that understands what those real characteristics are, and they follow the buyer consultation form to ask those questions, do it. The next thing that's important is a great buyer's agent focuses on the relationship. At the center of every buyer's agent that's excellent and their buyer is a relationship. I call this process BRT. What that means is building relationships of trust. And guess what? There's a system for it. It starts with the approach and greeting, and that's really asking the client what it is they want and getting to know them. When you do approach and greeting and you get to know people, I want you to be interested, not interesting. Like, tell me about your family. Tell me about what the kids are into. When I look at pictures on the wall, I see where they went to college, and I want to know what that experience is like. Did they play sports? What are the family members involved in? I ask these questions because I want to know what their lifestyle is and what's important to them. And as I get to know them as people and I understand what they love, then I can really, really guide them and help them find the home that fits the needs of their family. And so we build a relationship of trust. We do that by asking questions. One of my favorite dialogues or a script is called the F.O.R.D dialogue. I didn't make it up. I didn't even invent it. I'm not even sure where I heard it for the first time. I think it might be in 80 or 90% of all the great sales books I've ever read. The F.O.R.D dialogue simply says when you meet somebody, you want to build the basis of a relationship, you first focus on F. That's family. Tell me about your family. O is occupation. Well, what do you do for work? What does your spouse do for work? What do your kids do for work? Hey, if you don't work, what do you do instead? Family, occupation. And then we get into recreation. Recreation is one of my favorite ones. What do you like to do? Oh, we like to ski. We like to boat. We like to fish. We like to hunt. We like to dance. We don't like to dance. We don't like to fish. We don't like to ski. What are the things that you love? And a great buyer's agent will do this is they'll find something we have in common. Here's what I've discovered. I've discovered that, hey, look, I'm probably the squarest guy you meet. I'm a father of 6 from Salt Lake City, Utah. But if I ask enough questions, no matter where I am in the country or the world, I can find something that we have in common. We're all trying to do our best. We're all trying to be better parents or better spouses or better significant others. We're all trying to make a difference in the world in some way. And so what is it you have in common with the person across the table or the desk or in the living room? If you'll take the time to find out what you have in common, whether it's family, whether it's occupation, whether it's recreation, the things you do for fun, or whether it's the dreams of where you want to go and what's next for you in your life, if you take the time to really understand the F.O.R.D dialogue and how it means the purpose is building a relationship and getting to know each other at a high level, what happens when you take the time to get to know someone is they really understand that you want to do what's right for them because you've taken the time to actually get to know them. What a great buyer's agent does next is they become a student of the game. The best trainer of real estate is actually real estate. The more you do and the more you study and the more homes you go in, the better you get at it. Does your agent really study the game of real estate? When someone starts talking about houses in a certain price range, a great buyer's agent has already been in that house. They can tell you the color of the carpet. They can tell you how big the 3-car garage was. They can tell you any concerns they might have found out as they were walking through the home or something that came up on a previous inspection. They can tell you the view out the back, and they can tell you the school districts that are optional or that are available to the people that move in that home. A great buyer's agent is a student of the game, and they know the market, they know the neighborhoods, they know the communities, they know how far they are, what the commutes are, they know if there's access to public transportation or what the watch score is of the property. Great buyer's agents study the game and they are just good at it. I have to tell you that the average real estate agent does 7 deals a year according to the National Association of Realtors? I'm sorry to say this, and I don't want to offend anybody, but can you really be an expert if you do 7 deals a year and half of them are buyers and half of them are sellers? That means you only did 3 buyers. Like when I work with a buyer's agent, I want someone who does it over and over and over again, and they just get good at it. When I had back surgery recently, I didn't go to a back surgeon or a general practitioner who said, it's okay, we also do backs. I went to a specialist who does it 1,000 times a year, and he knows how to look for the nerves and make sure that he knows how to set up the operating room correctly and have the right staff in place to make sure at every area of the before, during, and after surgery, I had a good, positive experience with the highest level and highest likelihood of recovery. To me, that's what a great buyer's agent is the back surgeon of real estate. The person who knows it so well, they do it over and over again, they take the time to get to know you, and they just pour into you. A great buyer's agent will never show you one house. When you see a house online and you say you want to go see it, it's the job of that buyer's agent to find other houses to look at so that you always have multiple options and at least more than one choice to make a decision with. I recommend that as you're looking for a great buyer's agent, or if you are the agent and you want to become exceptional, understand the F.O.R.D dialogue, and I'll give it to you right here in the description below. Just click on the link, you can download it. If you ask the right questions to really understand who the consumer is, you can provide better services. Oh, you want that? I'm going to give it to you too. I just decided I can give you everything. I'll give you the buyer intake form that we use at Workman Success to teach our agents how to ask the right questions, how to understand the F.O.R.D dialogue, and how to make a difference in the lives of the families you serve. Being great isn't simple. It takes dedication, it takes hard work, and it takes a system. Anything you do 3 times, create a system for it, and great buyer's agents will have those systems. I encourage you to not just accept any friend with a license to help you find a home, but look for an excellent buyer's agent who does it for a living and is just better at it. And I know you'll have a better experience.